Is it okay?
Yes, sir. This is good.
Okay. So let's begin the session. So what we can find out here, we can find out the adjective participle or adjective participles, right? Now, what adjective participles are? What adjective participles are?
Sir, they are part of
You,
non-final.
yeah, they are the part of the non-finite verbs. But at the same time, you would find out that what um, we can call them verbs, right? What we can call them? We can call them verbs, right? We can call them verbs. But why we call them verbs, right? Because the root is the verb, right? Like I told you, we have the verb, right? Just a minute. We have verbs, right? And under the verbs, we can find out? We can find out a couple of things. Like the first one is called as a auxiliary, and the second one is called as a main verb. And under the main verb, what we can find out? We can find out that finite, and we can find out non-finite, right? And under the
Yes, sir.
non-finite, what we can find out? Infinitive verb. We can also find out that's called as a gerund. We can also find out what that's called as a
Adjective
adjective participle.
participles.
Isn't it? We can find out this
Yes, sir.
adjective participle. So that is why where the root is, the root you understand, the means the beginning. The beginning is nothing but called as a verbs. Isn't it?
Yes.
So in that case, we can consider that it is a verb, but it plays the role of adjective participles. Now, what adjective we understand? What is that? That modifies to the noun. Adjective means that modifies to the noun. But what about this participle? Can you tell that what about these participles? So when we talk about participles, we can find out verbs that have a means you can find out three forms of the verb. One is called as a verb one, which is a simple present. Verb two, which is a simple past. We also find out verb three, which is a past participle. Uh, and we also find out verb with ing form, which is a present participle. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So in that
Yes, sir.
case, verb one is a simple present. Verb two is a simple past. Verb 3 is a present participle. Verb 3 is a past participle, and verb with ing is a present participle.
Present
Let's
participle.
let's take an example. The example is called as a speak, which is a present tense. Spoke, which is a past tense, isn't it? We also say that verb 3, spoken, which is a means a past participle, and we can say speaking, which is a present participle, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Speaking. So in that case, you find out that three forms, but the verb with ing is another one, which is called as a fourth form. So in that case, these two are known as a past participle and present participle. But when this participle, right, works in a sentence as an adjective. Now, what is the job of the adjective? The job of the adjective is to modify noun, right? So when this participle works as an adjective in a sentence to modify noun, then we can call it adjective participle. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So now coming to the next one, we will discuss that what adjective participle and how it's function in the sentence. Let's say that as for the definition which you would find out here, uh, it is given very clearly that what adjective participles often referred to as a participle adjectives, and they are forms of verbs. They are forms of verbs that function. Now, it is clearly stated they are verbs, but they function as adjectives, right? Modifying nouns or pronouns. They typically end in what? ing, or you can say ed or en form, right? ing, ed, or en form, some irregular verbs, right? So in that case, participles can describe a state or an ongoing action related to the noun they modify, right? So what I pointed is given in the form of description. Now, the next one is what? The next one is called as a types of adjectives. So how many types of adjective participles are there? How many types of adjective participles are there?
So I think two. One is present and there is past.
Yeah. So we can talk about there are present participle. So what is that present participle? You can talk about
ing.
a verb with ing form, and another one is called as a verb with ed or en form, right? That is known as a means again another participle form, right? So let's look into it. So here you would find out types of adjective participle. When we talk about types of adjective participle, so what we can find out, the first one is called as a present participles, which is known as a ing form. Now, what does it do? Now, these describe an ongoing action or a state. Let's take an example. Example is what? The running water, the exciting movie. Now, in that case, what kind of a water? Water is the noun. What kind of a water? It can be called as a running water. Now, in that case, verb with ing. Second one, what kind of a movie? The exciting movie. Now, in that case, noun is a movie and water is also noun. So, in that case, you would find out what is the job of the word running and exciting. That the job of the word running and exciting do the role of what? Means participle form, right? Do the role of participle. What kind of a participle? You can say that adjective participle. How do we know that it is an adjective participle? Because it gives the answer what kind of a movie or what kind of a water. So what kind of a participle form play the role of adjective? It is a present participle because it uses with the verb with the ing form, right? And that plays the role of adjective participle, right? Second one is known as a past participle. So past participle can be formed ed, en, d, t, or n forms, right? So in that case, you can say was, you can say also forgotten, you can also say that moved, or you can say burnt, or you can say that oxen, right? So in that case, ed, en, d, t, or n forms. These describe a completed action. Now, please do understand present participle and past participles. What the job of there? The present participle indicate about continuing, right? Continuing action. But if you talk about past participle, it plays the role of means completed action, right? Completed action. So in that case, you can say past participle describe a completed action or a state resulting from an action. So resulting means called as effect from an action. Let's say that the example is given, the broken vase, the frozen lake. The broken vase, the frozenness. So broken, it is called as a break, broke, broken. So broken is a past participle. So, and it said that the vase is not going to break. It, it was already broken. So the frozen lake, it is indicating that the lake was means frozen or you can say chilled. So it means a certain action is completed in the past. So that is the difference you would find out present participle and past participle. Let's move to the next one. The next one is stated formation of adjective participles. So when we are talking about adjective participle, we understand it's introduction, it's types of adjective participle, present and past, and we are going to discuss formation of adjective participle. So when we talk about formation of adjective participle, we can find out uh, what? Present participle and past participle. So present participle formed by adding ing to the base form. Now, what is the base form of run? Running. The base form of the running is nothing but indicating as a means run. Run is the base form. So, what is the base form of the broken? Break. What is the base form of frozen? fridge, right? What is the base form of exciting? Excite. So in that case, you can find out the base form of the word, right? Using with ing form, that called as a running or excite or exciting. So then it can be called as a present participle. Past participle that usually formed by adding ed to the base form of regular verbs. Like example is given walk. Walk is the base form. Now walked is a past tense. Smile is the base form. Smiled is the means you can say that past participle, right? So in that case, irregular verbs have different forms, right? Verbs have different forms means what? Like you said, run become running, excite become exciting, walk become walked, smile becomes smiled. But when you talk about go, then it becomes went, right? Go, went, gone. So they are known as irregular verbs. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So they are known as a irregular verb. So what do they do? Now they have a different kind of a usage in adjective participle, right? Or called as in a past participle. So in that case, we can clearly state it that participles can be formed in a different words because they do have a means irregular verbs and they do have a irregular verbs. So regular verbs generally used with the ed, right? So means two types of regular. You can find out two regular verbs. Two irregular verbs like go. Watch, watched, and the three irregular verbs go, went, gone, right? And another one is called as a regular verb that is known as a means put, and you can say that cut. So they are known as a what kind of a verb? Regular verb. Okay. So coming to the next one, just a minute. Yeah. So we move for the next one. It's called as a usage of adjective participle. Now, what is that usage of adjective participle? When you are talking about usage of adjective participle, how it is used in the sentence. So, adjective participle can be used in an attributive case and predicative case and post-positive case. Now, what do you mean by attributive? Obviously, attributive is indicating that when adjective is used immediately before the noun, right? Let's say that placed before the noun, they modify. So the word that adjective participle modifies is known as a attributive case, right? The boiling water, the frightened cat. So these are known as a attributive case or attributive use. So what is predicative use?
Instance,
Yeah.
can you please repeat the attributive use?
Now, can you see that the kind of sign I have pointed here? The boiling water, right?
Yes, sir.
The frightened cat.
Yes, sir.
So what do you find out? Which one is called as the adjective participle here? Frightened,
Yes, sir.
boiling. So
Yes, sir.
what they modify? They modify the word called as a water. They modify the word called as a cat.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So, and they use immediately before the noun, isn't
Yes,
it?
sir.
So, in that is what called as an attributive case. When adjective is used immediate before the noun, they modify, then it is known as an attributive case. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
Now, second one is called as a predicative case. What do you mean by predicative case? Now, adjective participle used after a linking verb, right? So, what do you mean by linking verb? Now, that called as a seem, appear, right? Like. So, these are nothing but called as a linking verb. They, what is the job of the linking verb? Now, they do the job of describing the subject, right? Now, used after a linking verb, seem or appear to describe what? Subject. Let's say that if I talk about this one, the water is boiling, right? The water is boiling. The cat seems frightened. Now, what you find out? The word boiling is nothing but called as a complementing to the subject that called as the water. So the water is being complemented by the word called as a boiling, right? So what is boiling? The water is boiling. So The cat seems frightened. What does the cat seem? The cat appears frightened. So frightened is used with what? Used after the means you can say noun or in the predicative case. Where does it use? It is used in the predicative case, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, you would find out it is not immediately used before the noun. It is used in the predicative section, but it modifies to the subject, the cat. Therefore, it is known as a predicative use or predicative case. Clear my point?
Yes, sir.
Next, the third one is called as a post-positive use. What do you mean by post-positive use? Now, it is placed immediately after the noun. They modify immediately after the noun, right? Often in
It was before the now, it is after the.
look into it. What do we find out? It is called as attributive. It is called as a predicative, and the third one is called as a post-positive. Now, in post-positive, what happened? It placed immediately after the noun. They modify, often in formal or literary styles. Right. Let's take the example. The best solution available. The best solution available. The only person remaining. So what we can find out available, and you also find out remaining. So the best solution. So solution is a noun, right? And available is an adjective participle. Availed, available. Now in that case, you can find out the best solution available. So here adjective is used after the noun, which is known as a post-positive use. So generally adjective used before the noun, but in post-positive use, we can find out adjective is used after the noun. Even if you look into that, the only person remaining. So remaining is nothing but adjective participle, which is modifying to the noun, that person, which is known as a post-positive use. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
So how many adjective participles you find out or use of adjective participle? The first one is called as a attributive use, then after predicative use, then after post-positive use, isn't it? So
Yes, sir.
that is what you would find out. Now let's go for some of the examples and we'll identify the uses of the present participle and the past participle in the sentence and how we able to use the adjective participle in proper manner, right? Let's see that. Okay. The first one you would find out is known as a example of what? Adjective participles. So what is that example? If you observe that, it is stated that present participles, the laughing children. So what do you mean by that? It is known as a post-positive, isn't it? The laughing children. So in the, sorry, it's not post-positive. It is called as a means adjective, attributive case, the laughing children. So what do you mean by that? The children who are laughing. So instead of saying children who are laughing, it is a sentence. We can say that the laughing children, right? So we also say that what? The falling leaves. Again, another what? Another attributive case. What do you mean by that? Leaves that are falling is known as a attributive what? Attributive case of adjective participle, right? Uh, Okay. The next one that we can find out here is called as a past participles. Okay. So look into it. What we can find out in this, in past participles, you can find out it is stated the tired worker, the tired worker. It means the worker who is tired, right? Or you can say that means the person who is tired. The written document that called as a document that is written. So instead of making the sentence, what we can form here, we can use past participle before the noun and simply make an adjective phrase, right? Adjective phrase. What kind of a worker? Tired worker. What kind of a document? The written document. Now, let's look into the next one that's called as the differences between adjective participles and regular adjective. Because we know that we have a one specific adjectives parts of speech is present in grammar. Then what is the difference between this adjective or these adjective participle with the regular adjectives? Now see that if I talk about adjective participles, so we can find out adjective participle derives from verb. That is the first thing. Second is called as a often adjective participle imply a sense of action or change. So as it is derived from verbs, so therefore it makes us the sense of what? Action or change. So even adjective participles can indicate the tense. What kind of a tense? Present participle for ongoing action, past participle for completed action. Like I pointed, when you say the written document, the tired worker, so they are past participle and they indicated that they indicate what? The action that is completed or completed action. Second, we can talk about regular adjectives. So what that regular adjectives? Now, regular adjectives are the adjectives. They are not derived from verbs. Let's say that if I talk about the word called as a good, the word called as a strong, the word called as a tall, right? So are they derived from the verbs? No, they don't derive from the verbs. So, but they describe qualities or state without implying action. So without action, verb means action. So without action, they indicate what? They derive or they describe qualities or state. So let's talk about some example which is presented here. Red, tall, and beautiful. These are the adjective. They don't have what? They don't belong to means verbs. But if I talk about adjective participle or you can talk about present participle or past participle, they derived from the verb. Hope you understood.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now coming to the next one. The next one is called as a common issues and the tips that we generally face when we are talking about adjective participles, right? What is that common issues and tips? Let's see that. So it is stated, uh, it is stated common issues and tips. And when I talk about common issues and tips, what I can find out? Now, confusion with the gerunds, right? And confusion with gerunds means what? Now, we find out the confusion when we talk about the gerunds and adjective participle, because gerunds also known as a verb with ing form, right? And adjective participle is also known as a verb with ing form, but plus noun. Whereas a verb with ing itself is only known as a noun. Am I clear? Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir. Now what your point?
Adjective participle. So it is stated that present participles can be confused with the gerunds. Gerunds function as what? Gerund function as nouns, while participles function as adjectives. Example, swimming is fun. Now, when I say swimming is fun, it means what is fun? Swimming is fun. Then swimming is a what? It is a noun.
Gerard.
It's a noun.
Yes, sir.
It's a noun,
Yes.
or you can say it's a gerund, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So, but if I talk about a swimming pool, right? If you say that what a swimming pool, so in that case, what you can expect? Swimming pool. So you are talking about the pool where people can swim, right? That is what it is indicating. So swimming is nothing but derived from the word called as a verb, right? And that's why it is modifying to the noun, pool. So therefore, it is known as a swimming pool, right? So the second one is called as the irregular forms, confusion, common issues and tips. So irregular forms means what? Be aware of irregular past participle which don't follow the regular ed and ending. Like sometimes I find out students sometimes say that what? Speak becomes spoked, spoked, spoked. So because they believe that what watch become worst, then spoke becomes spoked also, right? So even they sometimes also used to say that go, went, gone, but they say that go, goed, right? So like that. So it is a kind of a confusion. So the third one, but we need to understand that when we are talking about irregular forms of the past participle, we need to draw means irregular forms means what? Go, went, gone. We can say that watch, washed, washed. We can also say that what means find, found, found. Such kind of a words can be called as a one irregular verb, one regular verb, two irregular verb, or three irregular verb. Right. Then third is called as a contextual clues. When I say contextual clues, what does it mean? Now, use context to determine whether a participle is functioning as an adjective or another parts of speech. Participle functioning as an adjective or another parts of speech. Let's say that the crying baby, right? Your crying is known as adjective. But if you say the baby is crying, your crying is not an adjective, it is the part of the verb,
Correct.
right? So you can say it is a present continuous form. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So now moving to the final one. So these are all things that you need to know about the adjective participle, right? Coming to the conclusion of it. So what does the conclusion point out? You can say adjective participles are versatile. Versatile means what? That called as a master of all tools in English, right? That increasing descriptions by providing what? Additional information about the state or actions. So you can say that means if it is a present participle, it indicates about continuation. If it is a past participle, then it is indicating as a completion. But both do the role of what? Attributive, predicative, or post positive, but they tell nothing but state of the subject or they tell nothing but action of the subject, right? So, but they indicate what? They are indicating or relating to the nouns. Understanding their forms, uses, and difference from other parts of speech can greatly improve both written and spoken communication if you have the knowledge about grammar, proper grammar knowledge. So, adjective participle is nothing but part of the, uh, you can say, non-finite form. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt, please do ask.
Sir, doubt will come when we solve questions. So we can go to questions.
Okay, just a minute.
Sir,
Okay.
sir,
Yes.
sir,